Reading a 5-star book, it's something that seems really easy, but at the same time it's quite elusive. So there's a handful of fantasy books that have just a perfect blend between great writing style, amazing world building, magic systems that will blow your mind, and that in short really obsessed me with reading. And this is important because when you find a book that you can really get obsessed with, then you are in the path of reading more. And let's start with one of my favorites, a hidden gem, and that is the Aurelian Cycle by Rosaria Munda. This is a trilogy that is already concluded. So yay. It also has just the best blend of tropes, military academic setting, also dragons. There's gonna be this incredible revolution that it's at the brink of happening, two main characters that have lots of unresolved tension. There are a lot of politics involved, and although it is marketed as young adult, I really believe that it leans way older. But if you're now hearing everywhere Fourth Wing and you're seeing the amazing ratings that it has, I really believe that you will also enjoy this. In a sense, this was done first and in my opinion better. And in here we will follow two main points of view that really had a lot of common, but that have incredible different backgrounds. And although they are friends, they should be enemies, and they are set up for a trial. They need to compete for the control of the dragon fleet, and this premise alone for me just made this story really set for greatness. But what really makes it for me, it's the dragons. We also will get a lot of background of these characters. There's a lot of references around how a platonic society could be, and it's a book that really hooked me because the action scenes were amazing, the politics were so well done, the twists and turns just really hooked me, and I am so happy that I found this. And moving forward to a standalone that is really short, but it's from one of my favorite authors. We have The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. This is in just 250 pages, just greatness. It reads really fast, at the same time it's really profound, and it's experience in itself. It's at its core a story that will make us feel and remember how magic we were when we were children. We will follow the story of this man that is coming home for a funeral, and he kind of like goes to his childhood house, and then he remembers this adventure that he had with his neighbor. And from that point onwards, we will follow the point of view of this man now turned into child as we live through that story. And this book felt to me as a story that either you can pick up and just be very superficial and still really enjoy, and then also just be a little bit more deep, invest a little bit more time, savor the words, and find yourself in those situations when you were a child. And let's move now to a story that has different points of view, all of them very different, that the stakes are incredibly high, and that at the same time will get you humor, great adventure, high stakes, and unforgettable characters and brilliant magic system. Yes, we have the Powder Mages trilogy by Brian McClelland. The first book, Promise of Blood, is so far the only one that I've read, but everyone says that the trilogy just gets better and better, and I will be reading and concluding this very soon. One of the best reads to me last year because I just discovered something truly amazing. For starters, it's Flintlock, which is this setting in which people are starting to figure out gunpowder, and they can have these together with magic. There are very unique kind of war scenes, and I found myself really enjoying it. Also a perfect blend of humor, and each of these perspectives was something that I was really hoping to get. There was no character that I was hoping to move past. I fell in love with each of these characters. One of them belongs to more of a political setting, and we will get to see all of the intrigues within the court. Then another one will be way more war oriented, and another one will be almost a detective. So you can imagine how all of these pieces put together can be a perfect blend. Add to that the magic. In this world, there are 3 types of magics that you can have. In the lowest level, you can have a knack for magic. In the second level, you can be a powder mage. And then in the third, in the top level, you will be a sorcerer. And just to make stakes higher, the book starts with one of these points of view really having a coup and killing the king. Another book that really hooked me from the beginning, and it has one of the best first chapters that I've read in my life. We have Red Rising, mind-blowing. It also talks about a revolution, and at its core is a story that will be filled with drama, with different trials, games, political maneuvers, war, great twists and turns, emotional attachment that will break your heart. And it is very hard to describe how emotionally high you will feel while reading this. So it is 100% a book to get you out of a slump. Probably you will get into another one after, but it is so worth it. The society, it's divided per different layers, and each of these layers is represented with one color. At the bottom we will have the red ones, and at the top we will have the golden. In between, tons of different colors. And thing is, in this society, people is just really restricted to their role. They cannot choose it. It's something that you get. So you can imagine how unfair all of this is. The story will start with one of these red ones, Darrow, understanding, facing a terrible situation, and then he wanting to change this whole system from within, which ultimately will lead to the journey of your life. And keeping that dystopian rebellion theme, we will have The Will of the Many, which is, as of now, the best book that I've read this year so far. I feel it is like Red Rising, but better. And this is a bold statement, but let me tell you why. For starters, there's a little bit more trials, and I feel the society is just so well crafted. And there's something that as a reader, you need to discover together with your character. You don't really know what happens in this world. You know how the magic is structured, and you know that our main character will be thrown into these trials to be at the top of the class because something it's quite amiss, but you don't know what. And as you pass those trials and you discover more, I just found myself completely lost to these pages, completely obsessed with the mystery that I was unraveling while reading amazing action scenes. There's particularly one at the beginning that it was mind-blowing. The magic system in this world, it's based on the will of the people, their almost soul, their ability to do magic to be granted to their upper level. So it seems that there's 8 different levels, and all of this is a pyramid. So at the top you just have one, and then you have a certain amount of people that takes care of the magic of the people in the level that it's below. Great pacing, amazing character, completely loved it. But if you want something that will get you obsessed, but it reads a little bit more light in a way, let's have Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. This is not super light in the way of this is a read that just goes really fast and that will never make a mark on you. Quite the opposite. This is a story that has marked me for the better. There's a sentient sword that is out of this world funny, and it is just a perfect blend between religion, politics. There's also a little bit of romance, adventure, twists and turns, mysteries. It is great. It is so far a standalone, although Sanderson will be continuing this, but it's been ages since this book was published, and even if you decide not to move forward, you will enjoy this. The premise is that we will have 2 sisters. One of them is to be promised to the god king from the neighbor kingdom because they want to avoid war. But the thing is that last minute decision, the king decides to not deliver this sister that had this plan from the beginning, but just deliver the one that was his least favorite. So if she dies, she dies. The amazing thing in this world is that, one, you can have breaths, and this is the way of magic, which is like the soul, and just having this soul, you can see colors, you can modify stuff, but these souls, these breaths can be combined and you can keep it. The more breaths you have, the more powerful you are. And it seems that if you had a very powerful epic death, you can come back to life, and then you will get lots of breaths and you become almost a god. And we will be following one of these characters that really does not believe himself to be a god, which is hilarious. Very emotional scenes, and I think it's one of the best Sanderson novels out there. And moving from one of the most popular authors out there, let's move to fan fiction and also self-publish. In this case, Manacled. This is fan fiction for Harry Potter, and it is a little bit of a blend between The Handmaid's Tale and what would happen if Draco and Hermione would have something. But hear me out, because yes, this is dark romance, but even if you don't enjoy your fantasy books to have lots of romance, I still believe that the part in which we move through this society where the Order of the Phoenix has lost and Voldemort is ruling, and how he is managing things, and how Hermione needs to survive in this world where it seems that she does not have any new memory of what happened. She just remembers that everyone died, and that's it, and lots of time has passed. It is quite good. It is very fascinating, very dark, so please check those trigger warnings. But to me, it just made so much sense. It felt as a story that was very well crafted, and it is 800 pages long, and I consumed it in a few days. Made me completely obsessed about it. However, if what you want is something in the other spectrum, worry not, because I have Project Hail Mary, which is one of my favorite books of all time. This book is just so great for so many reasons. It is a great story which is narrated in a way that keeps the best things of The Martian, which to me are the humor and a fantastic premise, but it just makes it a little bit more accessible, which implies watering down a little bit the science. We will follow our main guy who wakes up one day in space alone, and he does not remember anything. Why is he here? What is his mission? Nothing. He and you will discover his mission and what to do next, which, trust me, stakes are super high, and we will follow his adventure. He will meet different situations, and there's just something very cute, very unique, fascinating that happens, and that makes this book be as good. I really recommend it. Also, the audiobook, it's fantastic, and one of the best things for me from this author is the way in which, even if our character is having a very tough situation, he tries to always find the good or the funny thing in that situation, which to me is a very powerful coping mechanism that I really enjoyed. And from now onwards, we will keep with the favorites, starting with Sword of Kaigen. This is a self-published book. It won the SPFB 08, and of course it did. So if you're one of those people that you've heard before that this book is great, but you haven't picked it up yet because you don't know if this is your thing, please pick it up. I swear to you, this is going to be your thing. I've recommended it to lots of different people with very different reading taste. All of them have really enjoyed it. Maybe not as obsessed as I was, but there's people that really was very obsessed, so just give it a try. This is the book that made me cry the most in my whole life, and it mainly follows this land where the people of Kaigen are the last resort towards an invasion. And it's a little bit weird because in this country people are starting to move forward to get more modernized, but they are not. They still work and behave based on the samurai laws, let's say. They train, they try to tame their magic, which in this case is elemental, specifically ice. And you will see how it's very traditional, how the family, the father is like the head figure. Meanwhile, the mother, it's not so much, but things will get twisted, things will get very intense, and at its core we will follow the story of a mother and a son, and how both of them will need to step up. They will need to craft their destinies, and I promise you there's going to be scenes that rival Sanderson while keeping emotional punches that are so hard to believe, and there are some lines that will get to you and destroy your heart and make you obsessed with it. And last but not least, if you're ready to get obsessed, you can freely move forward with the Stormlight Archives by Brandon Sanderson. How this man is able to do this amazing story, I just cannot believe. I just don't understand. It is a masterpiece in terms of how the world is created, how the magic progresses, and how you need to keep track of whatever happens, which is very unique. It is fascinating to read these different characters, their stories in this world, but at its core it's a story of a war between different races. It is a great depiction of human psychology. I am a psychologist myself. I'm not working on that, so don't worry. But I see it. I don't know if you know it, but a few months back, Sanderson released an article when he shared that he usually is always at an emotional level of 7. He acknowledges that people goes to ups, downs, but he is always kind of like at a 7, and that he is able to really feel extreme feelings through his characters. And I believe those extreme feelings, both happiness, but terror, sadness, adventure, hopelessness, but bravery, all of that is depicted here. This is the series where everything intertwines in a way that will make you be, change. This book has changed me. So if you're there, you want to get something that it's unconcluded, but that will get you for a lot of time, because each of these books is chunky, please give Stormlight Archive a go. And if what you want to see, it's a very popular booktubers recommending 17 books that they believe are great for surviving reading slumps, to get engaged into reading, then I will link here a video where you can check it out. And I really hope you enjoy it.
And last but not least, if you're ready to get obsessed, please move forward to